And welcome back to another preview episode of Banditland Boulevard, where the Buffalo Bandits are looking for an upset over the red-hot Vancouver Warriors. Trevor Howard here, Tony LaMonica there. Just like I said, the Bandits finally snapped that win streak. They're looking to stay hot. We got to get an upset in Vancouver to climb yourself back into the postseason contention as of week 12 or 13, whatever week we're in right now. I will say this, though, Tony. It's going to be a tough one, but this is a Vancouver team that is, they have shown to be human in the past. Just last week, they lost 9-8 in overtime. So anything is possible. It's a week-by-week basis in this league. Anything could happen. But how are you feeling going into Friday night's game, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time? It's going to be a late one. We're going to be getting some Bandits after dark. But how are you feeling going into this weekend?
Well, it's definitely a big step up, especially with getting that much-needed win that we were desperately waiting for, that we all thought that we were going to pull it away with against Philadelphia at home. But it took another week later to finally get that winning vibe back into Buffalo. So I'm very pleased about what the mentality is going into this game because it's a confidence boost. But again, you're running into another one of those top-tier teams that have a great record, and you're still looking up, on top of the mountain. And this is going to be a tough task going up against one of the top 10, top-tier defenses that we haven't seen yet. So this is one of two games that we have to play Vancouver. Thankfully, it's on the road. Let's get that out of the way, especially on the visiting side. But other than that, you got to just take one quarter at a time against these guys and just find their weakness and exploit it. Other than that, I think this is a huge confidence boost that we much needed to do after that win over Halifax.
Yeah, and we always mention on this show, whether it was last week or the week before that, outside of maybe the top three teams, this whole league is wide open as far as postseason contention.
It is now.
Unless you're maybe one of those teams that's hanging around the very, very, very bottom, like the Philadelphia Wings, or as of right now, the Halifax Thunderbirds, who are kind of down there in the standings. But one of those teams that are in the top three of the league is the Vancouver Warriors. So if you want to go in there and win this game, you got to bring it. That's the only thing to it. Strong offense, very strong defense, and one of the best goaltenders in the game. It's going to be a tough task. But I think, Tony, we should jump right into the players to watch for the Vancouver Warriors. And go through the entire lineup. It's still amazing how they've only lost 3 games, how stacked this whole lineup card is. And where do you start? I'm going to start with the guy that really tears up the Buffalo Bandits and is a bandit killer no matter what team he plays for. Last time, I remember this game in the KeyBank Center when the Calgary Roughnecks came to town. Just last season, one of the players that they got this year is a bandit killer. Wore number 19 in Calgary. He might still be wearing number 19 in Vancouver. Jesse King is probably one of my number one players to watch right now for the Warriors, because talk about a bandit killer. I think the last time he came to Buffalo, he scored 4 or 5 and always finds the back of the net, beat the Bandits in the 2019 finals. If you're not watching a player like Jesse King, it's going to be a tough night out there for you, for your defense, number one, and for Matt Vince in between the pipes.
A guy who knows Buffalo well, who has established himself to really understand their weak spots and exploit them, and to allow his team to know it and just attack. Doesn't give him a chance to breathe. And that's another guy that they're going to have to really watch and shadow is Jesse King, who knows Bandits by 2019 and on. It's the fact that he just finds ways to score goals. If we can limit him to 1 or 2, that's impressive itself. But other than that, the man finds the back of the net very, very often, and that's another guy we have to watch out for. One of the quicker shots, especially picking his corners, we have to protect Vince from exploiting that shoulder, that weak shoulder that he always seems to have trouble with. And again, I'm sure Matt Vince has done his homework. He's going to have to really watch out for what Jesse King can provide. But other than that, it's going to have to be lights out for Jesse King, but try to condense him to a 1 or 2 goal night. You should be able to do all right.
It's going to be tough to limit everyone on that offense because,
there's a lot of names we haven't even got to.
Roster, it could get ugly, and it could get ugly fast. Jesse King, I also want to mention this, can also snipe on you. No matter where he is on the floor. From the restraining line last year, we saw it in Banditland when Calgary came to town. Shots from the restraining line that were going over his shoulder, going top shelf, or maybe going to the 5-hole. He shoots all different angles and catches the goalies napping sometimes. He had a pretty solid game last week despite the loss against the Saskatchewan Rush. So I know he's getting up there in age as well, but he seems like an ageless wonder for those guys. And what a godsend for the Vancouver Warriors to be able to find that guy and bring him over. I think it was during free agency. I don't believe it was a trade or anything. I think Jesse King came over in free agency, but what a signing from those guys. Vancouver, they're showing that maybe they were just a couple pieces away from being a championship caliber team. The Bandits saw them in the second round last year, and they were just a series away from going to the finals. And maybe adding some of these players can, help them punch their ticket this year. But Jesse King is one of those guys to watch for sure.
Yeah, and now especially with bringing another former teammate that got split apart for a year or so, and that is Curtis Dixon, another guy who used to be on the Calgary Roughnecks and now is a part of Vancouver Warriors, and another guy that those two know each other so well, and that they could combine easy 15, 16, 18 points together if they wanted to. So the Bandits have a tough task, especially defensively, with bringing Matt Spanger back on board after his long-time injury. And, you got 5 good stars on that offensive roster that you're going to have a tough time to beat. And this is going to be one of the testaments of the Bandits defense that, we may be hurting, but we're going to have to try our best to slow these guys down. But it's going to be a good fight. I got a good feeling this is going to be a good fight. Curtis Dixon, though, is a guy you got to watch out for because he can get hat tricks every game he plays. He's that good, and it is so hard to defend somebody like that. But the only way you're going to have to beat them is by stopping them from getting those offensive goals as much as possible to give your offense a chance to, push forward, get the goals that they need, and stay ahead as possible. But again, good luck, boys, because this is one guy is tough to defend against.
And not only those two, and Curtis Dixon's another one that can beat the Bandits just by himself alone, and easily can score 2 to 4 goals per game. And we've seen his success against Matt Vince as well, back in those Calgary days. I mean, those days aren't too far gone. So we remember those rough times when the Bandits really seemingly couldn't beat the Roughnecks. And, I think Jesse King and Curtis Dixon were the 1-2 punch for that team. And guess what? They have now joined forces with the Vancouver Warriors. And not just those two guys. Remember Adam Charlambides? He was one of the only bright spots for, I think it was through game 1 where the Bandits beat them 9-3 and just completely shut them down on defense. Adam Charlambides was probably the only forward on that team that was worth giving praise to in a 9-3 squash match in game 1 last year in the playoffs. And not only that, but game 2, he was pretty good as well. You could always count on him to pot in maybe 2 or 3 goals. And, the fact that he has his line mates with him, Curtis Dixon, Matt Beers is always out there throwing the ball around with them playing. And do I even mention their face-off guy who's going to be winning a lot of face-offs for them, setting up more offensive plays? Familiar face, Max Adler, another guy to be paying attention to. If you ask me this now, I would tell you that the Bandits traded away the wrong Fogo guy because I think Max Adler, he plays circles around Connor Farrell, honestly, in the face-off dot. Ever since day one, I was a Max Adler stan on this page, on this podcast, and I hate watching him on another team, especially against us.
Yeah.
I am on Team Max Adler all the way. I think he was the best Fogo guy in Bandits history, and it sucks that we have to face against him, but he's going to be winning a lot of faceoffs in that dot, and he's going to be setting up guys like Curtis Dixon and Jesse King and Adam Charlambides and company. They even have defensemen on that team that can score goals at will as well. So there's a reason why they are one of the top 3 teams in the National Lacrosse League because they're very good. Look at their roster construction. Look at their head coach, Kurt Malowski, another guy that we couldn't beat in the 2019 finals, bringing up some old bad memories here.
Sure.
Finally got some long overdue revenge against him last year in the playoffs, which felt nice. But I feel like we're ignoring the giant 20-foot tall elephant in the room here, not mentioning their goaltender, Christian Del Bianco, one of the best of the best. I think if you had a Mount Rushmore of National Lacrosse League goaltenders, at least second. 1 and 2 could be Matt Vince and Christian Del Bianco. You can line them up side by side and have 2 left for whoever the hell you want in those last 2 spots. But the first 2 heads on that Mount Rushmore in the NLL have to be Matt Vince, have to be CDB.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, but especially with how when he re-signed back with the team and he started off red hot, like that brought Vancouver back into a playoff picture like they have never been there
That
before.
undefeated streak.
And an undefeated streak, yes. And especially with that confidence boost to come against Buffalo, but then all of a sudden fall apart when it mattered most. But I don't know. Yep. This could be the Christian Del Bianco saying, hey, maybe these are the missing pieces that I need to get back into championship form again, like I did back in 2019. But all is said and done, this is, a completely different Vancouver team from last season. So we'll wait and have to see about how that pans out when we face them for the first time this Friday. Back to what you were saying about the Fogo guy, about Max Adler. The differences between Connor and Max, size. Connor seems to have that built-up size. But the thing that Max Adler has done as a Bandit, he uses control and speed to beat his bigger opponents. So that's another thing that Max has got the advantage over a lot of other faceoff guys, is that he uses the way to get down low where it matters most and to fish out the ball to get to his teammates quickly as possible. And on top of it, Max has scored more goals than Connor has in the season than I've ever seen he can do, because he can rush down the field and score in an instant. It takes Connor a little bit to get that boost, to get off to stand back up, to collect the ball and to go and just score those goals when he needed to. I think if Connor really wants to defeat Max here, he's not only going to have to win the most faceoffs, but he needs to. I got a feeling I'd like to see Connor Farrell score a goal against Vancouver if he had the opportunity to do so. Go out there and do it, and then maybe the mindset might switch about Max Adler to Connor Farrell. But other than that, this is going to be a very, very tough team to face this Friday.
And I will say, just out-muscle Max, too. I mean, you got the size advantage if you're Connor Farrell. You might just have to out-muscle him, outwork him, just shove him out of that face-off dot when you're battling for the ball. The thing about Max is he's super, super quick, too. And when he gets control of the ball, he moves it forward and finds a breakout guy. Connor Farrell seemingly wins a face-off and chucks it 20 yards behind him.
Yeah,
out to no one, and someone has to go back and get the ball right behind the net. It's usually Matt Vince that does it, but Max Adler's more. I think he's more agile, and I think he's more finesse with his faceoffs, and it just looks prettier when he does it. And I mean, we could always go back to Game 3 of 2023, where he, right after a Brad McCulley goal, he goes right down the field 5 seconds later and pots in another one too to pretty much end the Colorado Mammoths' hopes and dreams of winning it in 2023.
That was probably one of the best moments.
Who could forget that? But I thought Max Adler was one of the most underrated Bandits on the team. The fact that we're getting the chance to face him sucks. It does kind of hurt my heart a little bit. But what I will say about the Buffalo Bandits is this has been an ongoing pattern that we've been seeing over the past 3 or 4 seasons, and that is the Bandits do tend to play down to competition, and that infuriates the hell out of the fan base, including us as well. What do they do against teams that are slightly better than them or kind of hang around the top 3, top 4 of the league? They play up to those guys. And they usually show up and beat those guys, or at least give them a tough fight. The Colorado game, though, is probably an exception to that rule. Losing by 11 is never fun, and you're going to get your stinkers here and there. But you got some guys on this team right now that are catching fire at the right time. You stopped the bleeding. You broke a 4-game losing streak. And even though it wasn't that pretty in Halifax, especially in the second half, still got the win in the win-loss column. And maybe you can flip that on its head and create a winning streak of your own and make up for previous losses that you had. You got some guys that are catching fire. The number one player that I want to watch right now is I want to see what he can do on the goal scoring department, goal scoring sheet. Josh Byrne. Can he keep up this streak of multi-goal games? He scored 2 last week. For the first time, he scored more than 1 goal in a game since December 28th against the Calgary Roughnecks on the road. It was a Sunday night game. That was the first time since. Can Josh Byrne, is he regaining his confidence back, number one? And number two, can he get back to his Josh Byrne self against one of the most tough teams in the league right now?
2 goals is a good step up after only getting 1 per game or none at all.
Yeah.
2 goals does contribute the team effort to win games. And Josh Byrne has that mentality. If he wants to really break out and get that hat trick or 4-goal game that he was been desperately trying to see all season long. And I think if they keep feeding him the ball and giving him the opportunities that he has been getting, like 7 shots per game or better, I got a feeling the Josh Byrne that we once knew is going to come back in form, especially against these tougher teams. And it always, like you said before, it's always when we face the tough teams that are really good, we step up and become the better team. So this could be a good step up for Josh Byrne to get his confidence level back, especially like how he did against Halifax, to get that 2-goal, maybe now 3-goal, and then so on and so forth from here on out to the rest of the season's over. But it all depends on the mentality of Josh Byrne to keep that confidence of himself going. And I know he will, because I got a good feeling that this team is going to pick him up and say, dust off whatever crap is going on and get right back and doing what you do, that you love the sport of lacrosse.
And I mean, just looking at some of the highlights from the Halifax game, he's shooting more on net. He's getting closer with his shots. I know that he hit a couple posts too last game.
Sure did.
If those went in, we're talking about a 3 or 4 goal game for Josh Byrne. Then he's immediately back to his normal self. So it's not like he's missing the net by a mile like we saw in the Philadelphia game or maybe the Rochester game. He is starting to turn it around. This might be the game where, it really starts falling in the back of the net for him, because he's had some good games against Christian Del Bianco. Go back to the playoffs. Game 1, I remember Christian Del Bianco getting pulled for at least a couple shifts. And then game 2, he gives up 11 goals. So Christian Del Bianco is beatable. Josh Byrne was one of those guys, and in both of those playoff games that really got to him and made his life a living hell. Well, it was him, and it was the other guy that no longer plays for the Bandits, but Chase Fraser, who for some reason knows how to destroy Christian Del Bianco as well. Stuff that he used to do against him was absolutely feral. But any good players on the Bandits to watch for you going into this game, because they got some tough customers on the other side with their forwards, transition, defense. I mean, we mentioned how good Del Bianco is, but any good players that you're circling on the roster for the Bandits?
I do have actually one circled down, and it's a guy who's been consistently scoring every game, and we're going to go with number 1, Tehoka Nanticoke. Finding them high slot goals as much as possible, getting to the loose rebounds as much, and scooping them from the crease and scoring those tough goals that a lot of people don't like to get involved in. But Tehoka needs to keep that mentality up and keep that physicality up, is the fact that he can get to those tough areas and score those like very decisive goals that they need him to score. That's why they signed him for 3 years. They want him to get in ugly places and score ugly goals if necessary. So Tehoka's got to keep that mentality going and keep that score streak going, because that is going to be one of the keys to beating this team, especially going into Vancouver this Friday.
Yep. I mean, he scored in every game this year. He scored, 5 goals in his last 3 games, I believe?
Yeah,
that's what you stated. He can easily get you 1, 2, maybe a hat trick per game. He's been the most consistent forward on the team this year. When other guys have been struggling, he's been the one that's been picking them up on his shoulders. Another guy I want to look at, though, and the Bandits' record is insanely good when this guy's in the lineup, and that trend continued last week against Halifax. Mitch Desnew on the defensive side of the ball.
Yes.
When you have him healthy and he's ready to go, you got a tough customer that you're going up against. High-powered offense in the Vancouver Warriors. There's not another defenseman I would want there on the floor more than Mitch Desnew, because he's not that flat-footed monster that he once was back in 2019, 2020. No. He won NLL Defenseman of the Year when he played for the Toronto Rock just a couple, maybe a few years ago, and he still got that. I think he's matured a lot since coming back to the Bandits. He's been playing much more sound defensively, and the Bandits' record when he's in the lineup, and if you're a big analytical guy, big stat guy, the record for the Bandits when he's in the lineup is 4-1. And if the Bandits play on a 4-1 pace the rest of the way, 4-1, their next 4, then their next 4, then their next 2, if they play on that pace, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to be a top 5 team in this league. So Mitch Desnew is 100% the number 1 defenseman to watch for this team, because you got to have guys. You got to have bodies that are going to be able to shut down Charlin Beatties, Dixon, King, Matt Beers. I mean, all these other guys that know how to put the ball in the back of the net. There's not another defenseman out there that I would want more than Dr. Mitch Desnew.
Guys, here's a number for you to also think about. With Desnew in the lineup, 80% chance of winning the game. That's huge.
There's your
80
analytics right
freaking percent. There's your analytic about that. It's 80%. What does that tell you? That if Mitch Desnu stays healthy in that defense, in having him on that defensive core, that's huge right there alone, because he's a loose ball king. He knows how to block the best. So the only thing he hits too, he lets you know you're there. But also the other thing too, he can still score goals too. That's the scary thing about this guy. And when we have number 12 on the floor, and of course he made me a believer again, especially with how poorly, like you said, he was flat-footed and he just didn't seem like he was the defenseman we wanted to keep. But the moment he won the player of the year, and then he came to Buffalo and right off the gate just made himself look better. What a difference. But I'm telling you guys, what a difference to have number 12 back in the lineup, especially how good he has adapted and matured, like you stated, Trevor, in the defensive side. So, yeah, that was going to be one of my picks too as well.
And I'm sure he wants to win an NLL title too. He's been close multiple times, depending on whatever team you're talking about. He's had deep postseason runs with Buffalo. He's had deep postseason runs with Toronto. Now he's back in Buffalo, a team that's coming off of a three-peat. Him and Ryan Benesh are looking for that ring. So, big year. I mean, you're 4-5 right now, but you know the numbers when he's healthy and when he's ready to go in the lineup. You got a good record, 4-1 when Mitch is there. I want to see if Zach Belter is going to be in the game, and I'm very curious to see who the healthy scratches are, because you got to put at least a couple guys up there, which is going to be a tough decision for JT to make, because I want to see Lucas Nielsen out there. I want to see Ryan Benesh out there, especially a night after scoring another goal in Halifax against his old team. I want to see Benny out there. I want to see Nielsen out there. I want to see Belter. I want to see a fully sound defense out there with no liability. So it's going to be interesting to see who sits and who's going to be a healthy scratch. But I think you also have to look at Matt Vince as a player to watch too. He looked a lot better last week in Halifax. Couple really, really, really bad goals that he gave up last week. But throw those out the window for now, because the Bandits did get the win. But 51 shots, he stopped 41 of them. Not too shabby for a guy who's 43 years old. But if you want to win this game, you got to go toe-to-toe with Christian Del Bianco. And Matt Vince needs to be on his A game. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it.
Yeah, playoff Vince is what we're going to have to see him come out and play against Vancouver this Friday, especially with going against one of the other best in the game. But you're the GOAT. You know exactly how to win games, plain and simple. Defense has got to be there to back you up. You just got to stop the ball from entering the net. End of discussion, end of story. But the other thing is, don't ever forget who you are as a person. You have proven to us a lot over the years through all the teams you've played for to get to Buffalo, and you are a 6-time National Lacrosse League champion for a reason. It's because you have the gift of being, not the gift of becoming, you are the gift of being the greatest of all time in net, and that is Matt Vince. So you got to just have your best game, especially again today, this Friday. 10 goals allowed, I'll accept that, but the Bandits have got to provide, I guess, 13 or 14 to have you guys win that game. And you guys can. It's all the other guys have got to contribute 2 goals each, and I think you win no problem.
Yeah, I mean, not only has Josh Byrne been getting his confidence back, but after last week's performance, you got to think Matt Vince is getting his confidence back too.
Yep.
You do know that that Philadelphia game, I bet you Matt Vince was thinking the entire week after about how bad that game went for him. And that was probably simmering in his mind that whole week leading into the Halifax game, thinking, maybe if I made a save here, the outcome would be different. Or maybe if I made a save here, like, you don't have time to really, really dwell on that win. The Bandits really enjoyed it. Snapping a 4-game losing streak, you damn well better have enjoyed that win. But I'm not so much looking at the win. I'm looking at, can we keep this on a consistent basis? And when you see signs of players getting their confidence back, like Byrne and Vince, it's pretty encouraging going into this week against Vancouver, even though you got a tough customer coming up. I think we need to jump into our keys to a big Buffalo Bandits victory. My number one key, this really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Can we play a full 60 minutes? That has to be the number one key. You got to play a full 60. You almost, well, you not almost. You flirted around with fire the entire second half in that Halifax game.
That is
Almost
right.
burned you. Almost burned you. So no, I don't want a full 45. I don't want a full 33. I don't want a full half. I need a full 60. If you play 57 and not 60, a lot could happen in 3 minutes of a National Lacrosse League contest. A lot could happen in 3 minutes. If you do not play a full 60, I guarantee you, you will not win this game.
Yeah, I like that consideration of playing a full 60, especially with you have to be consistent now playing up against these tougher teams. They're not going to give you any chances to, allow you to come back during the game. They're going to go gun-ho until they can't walk or breathe no more. That's the same kind of mentality you have got to do to the opposing team as well. So going into Vancouver, do not slow down. Do not give them a chance or give them an inch. You play consistent. Like every quarter that you have in the first half against that Halifax game, you scored 4 goals in each. That's the mentality. If you would have continued on, 16. You would have had 16 goals, and then it would have been a nice, easy win. But you slowed down, right? And you would have slowed that. The moment that you guys slowed down and you looked like you had no gas in the tank, that just basically told their opponents, come get what you rightfully deserve, and that's the W. But apparently that wasn't the case, and I'm going to say this out loud. We got lucky to beat Halifax last week.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because of about how they just allowed them to come marching back like that. That was just grotesque in my view. But you got to not do that again. You got to keep that foot down on the gas pedal. So play consistent 60 minutes. But my other key is to everyone on the roster of the Bandits. Everyone contributes, you win the game, no problem. That is the key to everybody. Ian McKay, Toho Connecticut, Kyle Buchanan, secondary scoring, you name it. Dane Smith, whenever he got to score goals, you got to do it. Josh Byrne, get 2 or better every game. That's your confidence boost right up there. Clay Scanlon as well, get a goal or 2 here and there. It does help the weight lift off the shoulders. So everyone contributes, you win the game going into Friday.
Absolutely. And my other thing that I got to look at is, that it does sound like Brandon Bean a little bit with everybody eating. I want to see Ryan Benesh out there scoring, potting in a couple. I want to see
Lucas I would love that.
Go out there and have the game of his life against one of the best goalies of all time and give the rookie a big confidence boost if he scores a couple against Christian Del Bianco. I do like that. The secondary scoring has to be on point, and let me tell you, it was on point in that Halifax game. Without those guys, they also don't win that game. So
that's right.
Putting that out there, the secondary scoring was great. Continue that pace going into this week. My number one key is when you're going up against this finesse offense, and that is what Vancouver is. They're a very finesse offense. They love the pretty goal, the top shelf, anything 5-hole. They don't really get those down and dirty goals like Brandon Robinson used to do, or like what Roger Weiss used to score a lot of those goals where he was just getting manhandled. Or Toho Connecticut is a perfect example of that. If you need a guy to scoop up a rebound and just shovel in a goal while he's getting 3 slashes to his back at the same time, he'll score that goal for you. Vancouver, that's not really their style. They're more of a spread out around the restraining line, pick corners, go 5-hole, pick the short side. The Bandits like to get some of those down and dirty goals. Scanlon, Nanacoke. I remember back in the day, Corey Bomberry used to take a beating every single night, just getting shoveled and hacked in front of the net. Brandon Francis back in the day, too, would get hacked a ton. And Tommy Montour, that name comes to mind as well. But when you're going up against a finesse offense, what do you need to do to disrupt that? You got to out-muscle them. You got to beat them in the physical game. You have to out-muscle them, out-hustle them. You have to lay the body check into them. If they are derailed and that finesse style is derailed in any way, shape, or form, they're going to have to try to match your physical energy. And a lot of the times that has them overcorrecting, that has them making dumb mistakes, that has them missing wide of the net, has them panicking and all fidgety on defense and goaltending. If you out-muscle them, lay some body checks into them, go after every single loose ball, get in their heads. Let them know that you're standing right there, that you're not going to just out-finesse us, outwork us, out-man them physically.
Yeah, and the way you're going to have to do it is beat them on the scoreboard. And that's the only way that what we wanted to have you guys do every week from here on in. Just don't worry about taking dumb penalties. Just worry about scoring the more goals than your opponent. And just take one quarter at a time and just put the hammer down when it's much needed to. So don't allow your opponents to come back from being up that you think is enough. You keep playing until the final buzzer is done. And then once that is done, you did your job. Other than that, I don't want to see anyone resting at all. I want everyone to give everything they've got every game here on in. It takes one quarter at a time.
The thing is, for every single key that we just mentioned, you have all the tools.
You do.
You have all the tools to play a full 60 game.
You got the right guys to do it.
You have the greatest goaltender of all time that's ever played the sport. You have a defense that's very physical with guys like Mitch DeSnew and Zach Belter and Paul Dawson, Steve Priolo.
Yes.
You have, if you want to shut down those finesse guys, those are your defensive guys that you are looking at. Also, yeah, I mean, I know that you did mention, playing a full 60, secondary scoring. I think those kind of go hand in hand as well.
Sure do.
In order to play a full 60, everybody has to eat. Everybody has to contribute. Guess what? You have all the tools for that as well. You have your Kyle Buchanans. You have your Clay Scanlons and your Tejo Kananakokes and your Josh Burns and your Dane Smiths. Not only that, but you got your Ian McKays. You got your guys out of the transition that can score too. Nick Weiss, Matt Spanger. Mitch DeSnew could pot on a couple for all I know. Cam Wires scored last week, and D-Rob scored the week before. I mean, or whenever the Colorado game was. So you got guys that can score, guys that are capable of playing a full 60. It's up to you guys to go out there and execute. I mean, we can say till the cows come home what you need to do. It's up to you guys if you really want to win this game or not.
Yep, and you just got, like I said before, you take one quarter at a time, you beat out your opponents, you find their weak points, and then you just go out there and you just prove yourselves to everybody in the National Lacrosse League why you guys are the 3 consecutive years champions. And again, this is one of the best teams, and you play really good against tough teams, especially with a better record than you, and we just have to take it back. This is one of 2 games you're playing Vancouver. Just have to exploit them as much as possible and find the weakness as quick as possible and say goodbye to them.
That's right.
And that's it.
There we go. Boom.
That's it.
The moment we were all waiting for right here on live on Banditland Boulevard. As of Wednesday, February 18th. Now listen, my opinion can change at any point, but to leave you guys here, I already got my score prediction cooked up, and I'm just looking at all the circumstances here. Bandits squeak one out against Halifax. Didn't play a full 60. I'd take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day of the week, though. Don't get me wrong. Vancouver is coming off a stinger of a game against Saskatchewan. Robert Church laser shot from the restraining line catches Christian Del Bianco in the 5-hole. They lose an OT 9-8. Vancouver's coming in pissed. It's also in their house. It's also 10 p.m. Eastern time for us on the East Coast. Add up a lot of those, and I'm not really sold on the Bandits' identity yet. And quite frankly, I don't really know what their identity is still through the halfway point of the season has already come and gone. The Vancouver Warriors do have an identity. They're 6-3, top 3 in the league. They have been all season long. I don't see Vancouver, though, Tony. I don't see them losing back-to-back. I really don't. This looks like the old Bandit years or the old Bandit teams from maybe a couple years to 3 years ago, even last year.
Okay.
They're going to come into this game pissed, and then throw on top of that, they're still pissed about how the playoffs went last year in the second round in the semis. So stir that into one big pot, and you're looking at a pretty pissed off, pretty motivated Vancouver team. I think they defend their home field. I think they beat Buffalo 14-10.
Oof, ouch. Okay, well, Rock and Roll Night Part 1 in Vancouver first, and then we play Rock and Roll Night 2 against SAS on the following week. But
that's coming to our main event. That's what we'll call it. That's what we'll call it.
Coming to circumstances of what you've said and my thinking process of you got to prove something to me when I said you're not going to beat Halifax last week, and you did. I want to say I want to pick Vancouver this time because of the fact that, hey, you proved me wrong, but I also want you to prove them wrong why they should not be 6-3 and why you guys are the defending champs of the National Lacrosse League. So as a confidence boost going from picking them to lose, I'm picking them to win. I'm picking Buffalo to win this one, but it is going to be a very close one. I'm going to say Bandits 13, Vancouver 11. It's going to be close.
I'll take that. You know what? If you want to prove me wrong, go out there and do it. Because if you go out there and you beat Vancouver, you're establishing a winning identity as far as I'm concerned. Your record might say 5-5 if that's what the outcome is. But we are seeing the signs that the tide is turning in the Bandits' favor, and they're looking like the same Bandits all over again. Mm-hmm. I will say, though, if they do go 4-6, the crazy thing about this is how important that Halifax game was. Mm-hmm. You're probably still sitting in 10th or 11th in the standings at 4-6, and it's still not over at that point, the season. Nope. And I've already said on record on this show multiple times, I don't care about a home quarterfinal matchup. Just get in the top 8. I mean, I've kind of ridden that off. If you get 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th in the standings, I'm happy with that. I really am. Mm-hmm. So throw that out there. The season isn't over, as crazy as that sounds, even if you lose the season at 4-6, which is absolutely nuts, because beat this horse to death. Outside of the top 3 teams in the league, everybody else is a pretender as far as I'm concerned. And the postseason standings are wide open. But I would love the Bandits to win this game, because if you win this one, you're probably either in 7th or 8th in the postseason standings, depending on how Rochester does this upcoming week. So just putting that out there as well. I would love to win, so go out there and prove me wrong. But Vancouver has a winning identity. Buffalo, through the halfway point of the season, as sucky as it sounds, we don't know what their identity is. They don't have one as far as we're concerned. You lose to Philly and Ottawa, but you beat Georgia and Halifax? How does that make any sense? Like, there is no identity there. So I will just say that. There you go. I got 14-10. Bandits losing, unfortunately. You have the Bandits 13-11 victory. Hey, I will take that. I will be happily wrong. If the Bandits win this, I don't care. 1 or 20, go win the game. Go prove me wrong and turn the tide in your favor.
Guys, this is going to be the start of what you have to be made of, and that is against the top-tier teams in this league right now, record-wise. We know you're a top-tier team. We know what you could do when you're in situations like this before, when you guys took it from a 5-6 record and you walked into the playoffs and you marched to the championship. You guys have done it before. You guys, I have the confidence and faith you guys are going to do it again. But after that Halifax win, I am not like I've become a believer again, is the fact that you guys can pull yourselves out of the hole and get yourselves back on track and get back into the winning percentage. It takes one game at a time. You have to go into enemy territories to prove it again. So go out there, play your absolute best, and leave it all on the field. Just don't lose your mentality about the fact of taking stupid penalties. Just go out there and win on the scoreboard. End of story. I don't care like how ugly it is. Just win on the scoreboard. That's it.
You have also proven last year you can shake off those demons in that building. You can still win games there. So just win. That's all I got to say. Tony, time to shout out these sponsors.
Banditland Boulevard is brought to you in part by Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive up in Tonawanda, New York. Guys, if you haven't checked it out just yet, Banditland Boulevard, Trevor Hauer over there, Tony LaMonica, myself, is telling you to go check them out, especially this Friday, as they are hosting a watch party. They will have 75-cent wings. They will have beer specials. Guys, I'm telling you, the service is phenomenal. The food is excellent. We are not telling you to not just go there for that. We're telling you because we want you to go there for that.
I'm going there after also, Monster Jam, by the way.
That's
Monster
right.
Jam,
and
Monster
I'm going to go there
at 7.
Full form box head.
Hell yeah.
Full form box head. I'm going to represent.
If the Bandits start at 10 o'clock and Monster Jam starts at 7, you bet your ass I'll be at Mitchell's Tavern by 10 o'clock.
There you go. And especially with us being there too as well. We could do a questionnaire. We could probably do our own post-game show. God forbid, if we were up that late, we might as well there and then at Mitchell's.
Hell yeah.
So why not? Also, we'd like to thank Herney's Journeys, guys. If you want to book your next trip or vacation, please contact Suzanne Pike at SuzannePike@Herney'sJourneys.com. Let her book your next big adventure. And finally, we'd like to thank those who are sponsored by Nino's Pizzeria, located at 2 locations at 1737 Orchard Park Road in West Seneca and in 315 Buffalo Street in Hamburg. Guys, if you want your pizza, wings, subs, you name it, as you like it, only in America. And also, we'd like to thank those for watching us live here through YouTube on StreamYard. Give us that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell every time we talk about Buffalo Bandits lacrosse. And for those listening in on every device known to man through your tablet, your phone, or your radio stations through Spotify, give us that 5-star rating every time we talk about the Buffalo Bandits lacrosse, your loyal men in orange and black.
That's right. Just go out there and win. That's all I got to say. Go out there and win.
Prove Trevor wrong this week, like you proved me wrong last week. Please.
At the title. Look for an upset in Van City. Go out there and win. Mm-hmm. Just go out there and win. That's it.
Just go do it.
And also, what we have to say is we have to end our show on 3 simple words to end every single show. It wouldn't be Banditland Boulevard if we didn't. But 3 words. What are those 3 words, Tony?
As Chris Swenson always says in Banditland, we do it in 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Bandits.
Let's go.
Let's go. Come on, boys. Bring home a W and go against SAS.
Win.
Let's go.
Just win. Let's go.